Do you know what Taylor Swift, Lucy Hale, Terry Crews, and Lady Gaga all have in common? You might be saying, oh, they're all very talented, or they're all very attractive, or maybe you think the complete opposite. Regardless of what your opinion is on these people, the harsh reality is that each of these individuals are victims of sexual assault. Sexual assault can be defined as sexual contact or behavior that occurs without explicit consent from the victim. Sexual assault is a very serious topic that I think more people should be talking about. I started learning about sexual assault as a little girl. Not as a victim, but because my mom thought it was a very important topic for me to know about. Now that I'm a college student, I realize just how serious this topic is and have dedicated a large portion of my education to learning about sexual assault through classes, readings, documentaries, and so on. Today, we will be looking at what constitutes and falls under the term sexual assault. We will then talk about how often sexual assault is occurring on and off campuses. Finally, we will discuss how to get help if you or someone that you know is a survivor of sexual violence. When talking about sexual assault, we must learn what it actually means. Note that the terms sexual assault and sexual violence will be used interchangeably throughout this presentation. The Rape, Abuse, Incest National Network, or RAINN for short, is the largest anti-sexual violence organization. They have created and run a national sexual assault hotline where they have helped more than 3.5 million survivors and their loved ones. According to RAINN, examples of sexual assault are rape, which is the penetration of the victim's body, attempted rape, fondling or unwanted touching of the victim's body, and forcing a victim to perform sexual acts. This can include oral sex or penetrating the perpetrator's body. I think defining what sexual assault is very important because there are many victims that don't even know that what occurred to them is sexual assault. Stacey Young and Catherine McGuire, both communication professors with an expertise in interpersonal relationships in communication, wrote an article published by George Mason University titled Talking About Sexual Violence. They indicate that many of the women that they have interviewed regarding their history and sexual violence are referring to the violent act against them as just having sex or it. It's important to know what constitutes as sexual violence. That way, the victims and survivors know what is going on and what's happening to them is not right. It's also important to know that talking about the violent act against them is important and is safe and it is part of the healing process. So why am I talking to you about this? Should you be worried as a college student? Let's first talk about how often it's occurring. According to the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention, or the CDC for short, sexual violence affects millions of US citizens every year. It's important to note that this number is underestimated as we don't know how many sexual violence cases are not being reported to police. The CDC also states that more than 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men have experienced sexual violence involving physical contact in their life, and nearly 1 in 5 women and 1 in 38 men have experienced rape. Now, all of this is taking data just from the average of everybody who has reported being sexually victimized. So let's specifically look at college-age data. Note that college age in this presentation is referring to people aged 18 to 24. In a 2005 article titled Sexual Assault on Campus, published by a journal about women's health, the authors write about how in the 1980s and 90s, college campuses were rape-prone cultures. The authors go on to indicate that in 2005, not much has changed, and that in 2005, college campuses were also rape-prone cultures. This is so sad because in 2021, rape culture is still a huge problem on college campuses. In 40 years, from the first date that they indicated, colleges have not solved this serious problem. Women aged 18 to 24 have an elevated risk of being a victim regardless of whether or not they're a student. But today we will be discussing students. Among undergraduate students, nearly 2 in every 5 females and nearly 1 in every 10 males experience rape or sexual assault through physical force, violence, or incapacitation. The first few months of the first and second semester of the college experience is when college students are most likely to be sexually assaulted. That makes the months August through November the most likely time that somebody on a college campus will be sexually assaulted. Victoria Banyard and Mary Moynihan, both psychology professors at the University of New Hampshire, wrote an article where they discuss why bystanders who are college age who witness sexual assault or sexual violence don't get help. They indicate that many people don't think it's their business, so they won't go get help, and they won't tell an appropriate authority figure. Though they do say that 1 in 3 college females and 1 in 5 college males claim that a friend has told them about sexual assault victimization. Now that you have a better understanding of what sexual assault is and how often it's occurring, what do you do if you or someone that you know has been a sexual assault survivor? According to researchers at USC, Susanna Dorick, Peck School of Social Work, there are a few main steps to take if you are a sexual assault survivor. 1, ensure your own safety. 2, reach out for support. Reaching out to RAIN, the organization, would be an awesome place to start. 3, consider your medical options. 4, considering your legal options. 5, processing your experience. And 6, reconnect with yourself and your life. The authors of A Journal About Women stress if it has been less than 72 hours, do not shower, do not brush your hair, don't brush your teeth, and don't change your clothes. If you need to change your clothes, then put them in a bag and bring them with you. And go directly to the hospital and say that you're a sexual violence survivor. While at the hospital, they will help you and they will gather evidence from your body. Seeking medical attention is very important because you need to be treated for injuries that you might know or you might not know that you have. You will also be counseled for the possibility that you have STDs or the possibility of pregnancy. As college students, you are also able to call the campus police and ask for sexual violence survivor resources. I know these facts seem scary, and honestly, they are. They should encourage you to learn more about this and to protect yourself. Today, I have better informed you of the definition of sexual violence. I have discussed how often sexual assault occurs, and I have illuminated what to do if you are a victim. Let me end by saying this. I hope you're more curious about this topic and are interested in learning more so that you can protect yourself. Remember, it's not only famous people like Taylor Swift or Terry Crews who are being sexually violated.